Alright, so I originally wasn't going to film any of this. It was supposed to be a quick job, switching from one car to the other. But it's turning into way more of a project than I had expected. And I was behind already. I didn't show you guys like going over and getting this car. So I didn't really want to film any of this. And I was going to reveal it later. Something on the lens. But since this is turning into way more of a project than I was expecting, running into things that need to be fixed, and I'm now on day 2 and I need at least one of these cars to run to go to work tomorrow. So I guess I'll just go ahead and give you a little step-by-step, not step-by-step, but just a little here and there of, that's bright, of what's been going on, and like kind of like a fast-forward preview. So basically this is what we got. It's the nice little 2004 G35, about 140,000 miles on it, and she's fucked, body-wise. See some massive dents there, the front's all busted, you know, looked like some kid forgot to figure out how to latch his hood, so this is all just beat to shit and broken, but it was a good deal. So now this is just going to be built to be a dedicated drift car. Now with that being said, what I want to do is move these factory Brembos, the coilovers, and these other set of wheels to the Z. And the Z's been completely stripped already. The suspension's out, all the brakes are disconnected, it's up on the air. All 4 corners are good to go. We're done there. So now I just gotta take everything off this car. Well, in doing so, I got one side off last night. So as you can see, that one's completely stripped and ready to go. But taking off these upper control arms, it's no good. They're both that way. So instead of just putting these or leaving these the way they are and putting the stock stuff back onto this car, I think it might be a good idea to go try and get a new set of bowl joints pressed in since I'm already here. So with that being said, let's go ahead and take those pieces and go to Napa and see if we can have a friend press in some new bearings for us so we can move this process along, because either one, I need one of them to run by tonight. So we have a lot of work to do with this, so let's go see if we can do that. Okay, so slight update time. Apparently you can't buy, or so I've been told, you can't buy just upper ball joints to be pressed in to the upper control arms, let alone the ones that came off the car were after, it looks like they were just cheap eBay ones anyways, and somebody had literally welded the collar to the actual knuckle itself so they couldn't even be pressed out if you wanted to. Napa wanted like $330 a side, so we're not going to go that route. So I'm going to put them back in the car for now, even though they are sketchy, but they'll be fine just for driving around town for like a week until I find a set to order and get them in. So we're just gonna put those back in the car for now so I can get this done and at least get the G back to driving. So this is where we're at right now. We've got this side completely done. We've put the TNs back in, the upper control arms bolted back in, the stock 350 brakes are on with the stock rotors, and everything's been bolted back into place. Now there is a little modification you need to do to fit the stock 350V struts onto the G35. For some reason, I think I have them. For some reason, the Nissan, the 350, has these little divots right here, and I think that's because the lower arm doesn't have as big of bushings. So basically, if you want to put these on your G, you just need to grind these off, and they'll slip right on the bushing for the lower control arm off the G35. So far, that's the only modification I've had to do. And yeah, so I've got this side almost done. Everything's loose. So we just need to finish pulling this all apart. And get these out of here, get the Brembos apart, and take the rotors off, and then we can finish the front of this car. So one side done, only 3 more to go. All right, so it is now day 3. And we got one car done. Trying to see where I left off. I think I left off with grinding the tabs down on the stock Z suspension that was going onto the G35. So I had to get that done super quickly because I needed to drive that car first thing in the morning to go to work. And then it proceeded to start raining on me. So that expedited the process a whole lot more. But we got that car done. We just threw everything back in. Luckily, Rick had an extra set of upper control arms off of his old 350Z. And so when we get this thing out of here and dialed in, we'll bring that car back in and rip that back out and change those, because those are super sketchy to drive on. So hopefully in the next couple days we'll be changing those back out. But yeah, so day 3 on this adventure that I thought would literally only take one day. It is what it is. But we got the fronts on. I got the wheel on the driver's side and everything buttoned up on the passenger side for the front. So that just needs to be bled now. And then we're gonna move on to the rear. So let's go check that out. All right, so now here we have our Brembos on, our drilled 18-inch rotors, and everything seems to be moving free and clear. And then we have our new, to us, coilovers in the back, and I just left them set at the height that they were when they came off the G, so hopefully that's not super low, or I should say too low to set this car back down. But I guess it doesn't really matter since we're going to be cutting these fenders out anyways this weekend. So, but yeah, so the fronts are all on. Everything's tightened down. Everything went in like it was meant for this car, even though it came off the G35. So that is pretty nice. You can swap stuff back and forth, and vice versa. The stuff that came off the Z and went on to the G35 fit great, and actually lifted the car back up to where it's, was it function over form? So that car is now functional. This car will be form. I don't know, we'll see what happens. But so that car is running great, driving perfectly, feels a little bit better, actually a little bit tighter, and the stock brakes are fine enough for that car, for what we're gonna do with it on the track. So yeah, I don't know where I was going with that, but it works, vice versa. So all the suspension from the Z went on the G just fine. Everything bolted right up, went right back into its spot where it should be. And the same stuff, all this aftermarket stuff came off the G and went onto the Z perfectly. Now, on the other side, we have our wheel mocked up. The only downfall is these wheels are still not the right size that we need. So we took off stock brakes, which had our 18 by 9.5 squared, and they fit great. I had a 1-inch spacer in the rear just to kind of fill the rear out, and it was good. Not low enough, but it was good. So now we took the other wheels that we got, And we got our 18 by 10.5 plus 20. Those were, yeah, plus 20. And now because of the Brimbos, oh, you can see them back in there. Oh, it's so dark. But anyways, because of our Brimbos back in here, we still needed to run a 1-inch spacer to clear. But I think this will be good. We might actually have to bump up to 1.5 inches, depending on how the kit sits this weekend. Decent amount of poke. So yeah, so that's where we're at. I think I'm gonna call this video here tonight once we get the rears on, and then I'll come in probably sometime later this week. I think Thursday the rear spacers are coming in, the 2-inch rear spacers, so then we can put the wheels onto the rear with the brakes on them. And I think at that point we'll go ahead and bleed the system, get the wheels on, trim out some of the fenders so we can get the car back down on the ground, and then we'll go over to my buddy's shop and install the kit that we got about a month ago, 2 weeks ago, whenever. We got a kit, so hopefully we can get that on this weekend. So let's get to finishing up for today. Alright, so we're just finishing up here. We're on the last rear wheel, and I don't know if you can, or if I'm just too lazy and don't really want to look into it. I don't really want to like try to get in here and take the hub off and do whatever it is that needs to be done to swap out the dust shield, because obviously your rotors for the Brimbos are bigger than the stock ones. So what I did on the other side is I just cut this lip off right here to fit. I don't even know if you can take those on and off. I would assume you could, but that just seems like a lot of unnecessary work. Plus this theoretically should help with more cooling, just letting more air in. So yeah, so let's go ahead and cut the lip off this thing, put this last Brembo together, and then we should be ready to bleed tomorrow. So let's get this done. Okay, so again, like an idiot, I forgot to film an outro for this video. So here we are. I think this time it's only a month. Yeah, we're only a month now. So I'm getting caught up. But here we are. Here's how it sits. A little aggressive, a little bit more poke than I want. Ended up selling the wide body kit after getting it to fit pretty decent. I had to roll and pull the rear quarters, and actually don't rub it all. So there's more poke than I would like, but actually the fitment is pretty good. Wish I could be a little bit lower, but thanks to our exhaust, we can't go any lower because of the way of the NVIDIA sits. The fronts I want to fix a little bit more. They fit pretty good, but I think I can get them to fit better with some camber arms. So I'm gonna order those hopefully in the next week or two. And we can knock those in fully and try to match the camber in the rear. And hopefully that'll put the front on point. And then, I don't know, I'm not sure how to get the rear down more. I might have to redo the exhaust somehow, but we'll figure it out. But I did end up buying a Rocket Bunny kit, which I then sold a week ago because I just love the way it looks. Like, I really was down to buy a third set of wheels, to cut my fenders, to do all the work. But after looking at it, I fell in love with it. And I think it's perfect for right now. I would still like to buy another set of wheels to make this work with the Brimbos to get rid of the spacers, because I don't really like running that big of a spacer. But next year, hopefully we can find something. But yeah, so sold the kit. Love the way this looks. It looks really aggressive from the front and the back with the deep dish. I just need to find a better set of wheels, and we'll go from there. But I like it. So yeah, so we'll keep getting caught up, and I'll do a walk around. I know I still need to do a walk around on this car, and we need to do a walk around on the new car, which I think that'll probably be first. So yeah, so stay tuned, a bunch of stuff coming up. Like always, like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.